everyone, to Three Things to Watch. I'm Carly Smith here with Rob Washburn, bringing you all you need to know before the last week of the regular season in CAA football. And Rob, if there's a time to be locked in all around the league, it's now. Plenty of playoff implications leading into this final Saturday. Quick recap, we had no lack of excitement last week as we saw Richmond clinch at least a share of the regular season title and earn the CAA's automatic bid to the FCS playoffs. Monmouth's Derek Robertson went off in the upset win against number 8 Villanova. New Hampshire overcame a 20-point fourth quarter deficit to upset number 17 Stony Brook. The comeback kids, Rhode Island, rallied in the second half to beat UAlbany 20-17 and stay in the hunt for a share of the regular season championship. Towson's defense, played tough, recording 6 sacks and forcing 2 turnovers in their win over North Carolina A&T. And Rob, plenty of other dazzling performances. What'd you see?
Yeah, let's start with a huge performance from Delaware quarterback Nick Menicucci with 308 yards and 6 touchdowns in a win over Campbell. William & Mary's defense came up with a pair of goal line stops in the fourth quarter and held off Bryant. And Elon's Rushawn Baker rushed for over 150 yards for the third straight game and scored 3 touchdowns as the Phoenix got past Maine. 5 games last week were decided by 7 points or less. I would expect more of the same in Week 13.
Buckle up, okay, for Week 13. All 16 teams are in action, but first let's highlight an extremely competitive matchup. Number 14 Villanova plays host to Delaware. The Blue Hens piled up 529 total yards of offense against Campbell last week, and we know they're coming in hot again for this one. Villanova, we know they're hard to handle, especially with David Avit putting up some quality rushing numbers and facing quarterback Connor Watkins, whose game is so multifaceted. Delaware's ranked second in the CAA in scoring, and Villanova's ranked first in defense, with the Blue Hens right behind them. Such an intriguing matchup. Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah, Carly, the Battle of the Blue has provided plenty of great games over the years, and this one should give us more of the same. Delaware's high-powered offense went over the 40-point mark for the 6th time last week, and what makes them so tough are the number of weapons they have. Along with those 6 touchdowns by quarterback Nick Menicucci last week, running back Marcus Yarns went over the 100-yard mark for the 3rd straight game, and Phil Lutz caught 2 TD passes to up his total to 11 for the season. The Blue Hens can attack you on the ground and through the air. Now they'll face one of the top defenses in the CAA in Villanova. The Wildcats are experienced with 9 starters in either their 4th, 5th, or 6th year, and they've played in plenty of big games against tough opponents. It starts with the linebackers Brendan Bell, Shane Hartzell, Ethan Potter, and Richie Kimmel, but there's also veterans in the secondary with Ice Waxter, Jalen Goodman, and Ty Trina. Villanova has held 5 opponents under 300 yards and 6 to 14 points or less. The Wildcats have gone home with the Battle of the Blue trophy in 15 of the 17 years. Will they be able to make it 16?
Let's hear what Delaware's Ryan Carty and Villanova's Mark Ferrante had to say.
They're outstanding. I think they're, I just heard Coach Ferrante talk about, our team. I don't think their defense has weaknesses. I think that's the key. They're very sound everywhere. Outstanding in the back end. Have the ability to press you and lock you down.
They don't seem to have a weakness anywhere. I'm looking at some of their special teams today, and their kickoff guy is about 68% touchback, so you're not going to get a chance to return against them. And, just about in every statistical category, whether it be offense and points and what they're putting up, or defense and points and what they're not allowing, they're doing a heck of a job.
Tune into that one at 1 p.m. on Flow Football and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Now we get to highlight the guys from Rhode Island. Brian hosts Rhode Island, Rhody. They found a way to finish games this season. The Rams just tied for the program record in regular season wins with 9 after yet another gutsy comeback victory. This time the hero was Wesley Neal Jr., who blocked a game-tying 36-yard field goal attempt on the final play of the game in Rhode Island's win against UAlbany last week. Now Bryant, on the other hand, has some star power with guys like Landon Ruggieri, who's second in the league in receiving yards. This would be a statement way to seal the season with a Bulldogs win. You know they won it. Rob, your expectations?
Yeah, it has been a magical season for Rhode Island. Of those 9 wins you mentioned, 6 of them have come after trailing in the fourth quarter. And if they can get one more, the Rams would earn a share of their first CAA title since 1985. Rhody's been very solid offensively this season, but it's been the defense that has delivered in crunch time. Last week, they pitched a second-half shutout to rally from that 17-point deficit against UAlbany. It starts with linebacker A.J. Pena, who ranks among the best in the nation with 10 sacks and 17.5 tackles for loss. But fellow linebackers Cole Blackwell and Devin Hightower have combined for more than 160 stops. Now, the challenge on Saturday is a Bryant offense that has passed for 200 more yards in 10 of their 11 games. Quarterback Jarrett Guest returned from an injury last week and threw for 263 yards at William & Mary. And as you mentioned, he has one of the top receivers in the nation, Landry Ruggieri, has 61 catches and is 9 yards shy of 1,000 for the season. His 14 TD catches are the most in FCS. He's had at least one in 8 games. Now, despite the 0-7 CAA record, the Bulldogs have taken several of the top teams in the league to the wire. They would love nothing more to close the year with a win over their in-state rival.
Oh yeah, now let's turn it over to Rhode Island's Jim Fleming and Bryant's Chris Merritt.
I really like Coach Merritt and his staff. I think that he does it the right way and he does it with the right intent. I look at them, I got into them last night for, a couple of games, so I can't say I know everything, but what I see is a team that really likes to throw the ball. He's throwing it all over the yard and he's accurate and he's good and got a couple of receivers that are really, really impressive players to watch.
We need to do exactly what we did last week by keeping the football in front of us, minimizing the big plays, forcing the offense to drive 10, 15 plays down the field to score. And then offensively, we can't turn the football over. I think that, we have to have more success once we get in the red zone.
That game airs at 1 p.m. on Flow Football. Now on to our third thing to watch, and we love a good rivalry game. It's the Capital Cup. Number 7 Richmond hosts a William & Mary squad that's receiving votes in the national polls, and Richmond's riding a 9-game win streak, and my do they have some firepower in running back Zach Palmer-Smith, who just became the first Richmond running back since 2015 to have over 1,000-yard season. William & Mary will need to quiet him as much as possible, but that defense, it's up for the test. The Tribe had 2 goal line stops in their win over Bryant last week. A lot of familiarity between these two teams. The state of Virginia is in for a treat on Saturday. Rob, your analysis.
Yeah, in my opinion, Carly, this is one of the great rivalries in college football. And I say that not only because these teams are meeting for the 135th time, but because to have a true rivalry, both teams have to win, and the series record stands at 65, 64, and 5 in favor of Richmond. There's so much we could break down in this one, but let's focus on those rushing attacks. William & Mary ranks number 4 nationally at 248 yards per game, and this will be the final regular season outing for 2 standout backs in Bronson Yoder and Malachi Emo. Yoder went over the 1,000-yard mark for the second time in his career last week, and he's 3rd on the Tribe's all-time rushing list. Emo ranks 8th on William & Mary's all-time rushing list and has averaged an amazing 7 yards per carry for his career. Now, on the other side is a newcomer who has had an enormous impact on his team's success, and Richmond's Zach Palmer-Smith. As you said, he's the first Spiders back since 2015 to eclipse 1,000 yards, and he has scored 12 rushing touchdowns. Richmond hasn't lost since he took over as the starter in Week 3, and he's topped the 100-yard mark in 4 of the last 8 games. Now, along with the bragging rights of claiming the Capital Cup, this game will have a big impact on the FCS playoff picture for both teams. The team that can excel in the running game will likely have the edge.
Let's find out what Richmond's Russ Huseman and William & Mary's Mike London had to say prior to the game.
But I think they really go with their offensive line. They're really so solid up front. They've got a lot of experience up front, excellent players, and they get on you and they can block you pretty well. So our defense has their work cut out for them this week.
Our first and main focus is to go up there, play a competitive game, and win the game and bring back the cup. I mean, obviously that's they want to keep the cup. I've been on both sides of this ledger. I don't know how many games this has been for me, but that's the gist of what we're focusing on and playing our best game to date.
Don't miss a moment of this one. Kickoff is at noon on MASN and Flow Football. Now let's take a look at the full Week 13 slate. UAlbany welcomes Hampton to New York. Number 18, Stony Brook hosts Monmouth. Goodness gracious, that's a must-watch event. Number 24, UNH travels to Maine in the battle for the Bryce Cow Musket. North Carolina A&T hosts its North Carolina neighbor, Elon, and Campbell closes out the day with the showdown against Towson. As always, follow along on social media at CAA Football and visit CAAfootball.com for results, recaps, and more. Let's do this.